This is a very common conversation that I have is, should you buy with a 10% deposit because you've got 10% right now, or should you keep saving until you have 20% deposit? Now, in a perfect world, you'd have 20% because that means you're going to have cheaper interest rates and it's easier for you to get a mortgage. However, you might think, well, it's going to take me 2 years to save between 10% and 20%. And what's going to happen to house prices in that time? Now, you might think, okay, well, house prices are probably going to go up. And realistically, that is more common or more often to happen. If they were to stay flat, then you're probably okay saving that 10 to 20% deposit. But if they were to go up, that means not only are you going to have to keep saving, but when you eventually buy, the house is going to be more expensive and therefore the mortgage is going to be a bigger amount. The flip side that I want you to think about is if you do buy with a 10% deposit, and yes, you have to pay a high interest rate, that higher interest rate is only until you have the 20% equity. And because you've now bought, and if the house price goes up, which it should, obviously, over the years, then you're now getting equity instead of having to have a bigger mortgage. And then once you do get those special rates, when you have that 20% equity, it's applied to a smaller mortgage because you bought it when the house was cheaper. I've done the numbers on this in so many different scenarios, and it seems to be that it just breaks even. So whether you want to buy in 2 years with 20% or buy today with 10% is more of a personal decision, I think. But there have been plenty of people I've spoken to that say, I want to wait until I've got 20%. And I'm like, cool, do your thing. And they call me once they've got 20%, and then they can't afford a mortgage any longer because other things have changed in their life, like they've had kids or they've decreased their income or bank rules have changed. So me personally, if I could buy today, I would buy today. But I know not everybody is like that. So you need to be happy with the pros and cons of 10% versus 20% or 15% or somewhere in between.